Hello and welcome to Fresh Perspectives. My name is Gail, and my guest today was recently honored by the Mayville Chamber of Commerce for boosting and supporting the community by devoting time to social and financial matters, and is known as the Dynamo. And her name is Serena Wilkinson. Thank you for appearing on Fresh Perspectives today, Serena.
Thank you, Gail, for inviting me.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay. Now, I heard that for 15 years you worked in and supervised credit unions. Would you like to say something about that?
Yes, certainly. So honestly, it was kind of a fluke thing that I ended up in the credit union industry because I do have my degree in early childhood.
Oh, okay.
So I was working in that field, and then just to make a long story short, I just looked for something part-time. So I found a part-time teller position at Interlakes Federal Credit Union in Westfield, and intended that it would be just a short-term gig until I found another daycare. But a short time thereafter, I went full-time, I became head teller, and then I started managing the Fredonia office once we merged, and I oversaw all 4 of our offices. And by the time I knew it, I'd been there 13 years. And then I left there and went to another local credit union. I worked at Greater Chautauqua Federal Credit Union here in Mayville for a couple of years. And then at that point, I decided that I wanted to start a new adventure. So I went through the training for real estate, and I got my real estate license in 2018.
Oh, okay. Well, we do have to reinvent ourselves from time to time, don't we? Okay. Now you have served as the Mayville Chautauqua Community Chamber of Commerce Committee. Do you want to say something about that?
Yeah, so honestly that too happened as a fluke because I was invited to participate in the Mayville Winter Festival as the photographer because I started photography in 2010. So I started that in, I think it was 2018, and then I was there 2019, and one of the committee members who I knew, she's like, well, you need a title. And I said, no, I really don't need a title. I'll just participate. So I ended up with the title of vice president. And then I wasn't vice president real long when Sally Andraccio was president. So her and I ended up switching roles in 2020. So I took the president role, she took the vice president role. So I had been with them for 3 years. And I just actually finished up my time. I resigned at the end of September. So
well, when the pandemic came around in 2020, that kind of threw everybody for a loop, didn't it?
It certainly did.
We didn't know if we'd ever have a regular life again or not.
Certainly not.
No. Okay, now you have renamed the summer concert series, and I'd like to tell you, or have you tell what you renamed it from. And what were your responsibilities with putting the concerts on?
Well, the former coordinator of 18 years, Debbie Marsala, this was something that she had started, and it was called the Entertainment in the Park Summer Concert Series. And we just felt we wanted something that was connected to Mayville, that was like owned by Mayville. So we renamed it Mayville's Music by the Lake. Because the concerts take place down at the park, at Lakeside Park. So we did that, and when we did that, it was kind of like a fresh perspective on things. And people thought the concerts were new, and they weren't. So just doing that kind of ramped up everything, and this year we extended our season from 8 weeks to 10 weeks. And we've had great local bands every single week for the last number of years. And they're well attended, you know, and they're supported by the town of Chautauqua and the village of Mayville, so they help sponsor the events. And during the events, we have food trucks. So the Best of Buffalo by Byron has been there the last couple of years. Franklin's Honey and Apples has been there for a number of years. Prior to that, we had the Bemis Point Fire Department. But they honestly stopped doing that after COVID because they just didn't have the manpower.
Oh, okay.
So, but we would sell 50-50 tickets
Mm-hmm.
at each concert just to help, you know, promote and to help really fund it, because the Mayville Chautauqua Chamber and the sponsorships is what paid for these concerts.
Mm-hmm.
And then last year we added in yard games. So we had 2 sets of cornhole boards that were made by one of our committee members, Tim Hall, and we had a oversized Connect 4 board that we used too. So people would play those.
Oh, okay. Was it quite a bit of work to get the bands lined up?
Sometimes it could be a juggling act depending on, you know, what weeks were available or what weeks the bands were available.
Yeah, yeah.
Based on our schedule. So, but
yeah, sometimes, like with this television program, you know, it can take doing a lot of texting and phone calling to get people lined up, and then sometimes people cancel, and then you have to figure out what you're going to do.
Well, we were lucky enough we've not had any bands cancel on
that's
us, but
good.
I know
good.
we saw an uptick this year in people reaching out to us wanting to perform. But we've only got so many weeks that we can schedule these performances. So going forward, I don't know if what they'll do differently, or to add to it, I should say.
Yeah, well, maybe things could be worked out where the people you haven't been able to fit in can, you can put them on a list of people you can contact if somebody else has to cancel.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. That's something our coordinator and the committee will take care of, so yeah.
Okay. And, okay, you have established the Mayville Farmers Market. I'd like you to say something about that.
Well, we had one previously. Amy Smith, who's a local, she took care of that.
Oh, I know who she is, yeah.
I don't know if it, you know, it dissolved, or I don't know the story or anything behind it, but I thought that it was a good opportunity to bring it back if she wasn't going to do it, which she didn't, and they graciously gave us all of their signage and everything to use. So we wanted to try something different. It was on Mondays, or it was on Fridays before, so we wanted to move it uptown to the park. So we had more exposure, because at the Village Park, we're actually at, obviously, the intersection of 394 and 430, right. So we've got the visibility there. So we moved it up there, and we looked at other local farmer markets, because we did not want to be on a competing day.
Right,
we wanted to be able to...
Because the Westfield one is Saturday.
Yeah, so we wanted to be able to support our community, but support other local communities too. So we decided to have ours on a Thursday. That way we could say, you know, at the time, Lakewoods was on Fridays. You know, you can go to Lakewoods on Fridays, you can go to Westfield and Fredonia's on Saturdays, so you have an opportunity to shop any of the local markets.
Yeah, and it's amazing how many vendors you can get for something like that, too.
Yeah, and if you have them on a competing day, it's really hard on the vendors, because then you're forcing them to choose one or the other. Like if you have them on different days, if they're available.
Then they can do all of them if they've got the time,
Yep.
Okay. Now, do they have to pay a fee?
Yes, it's $10 a week.
Okay.
Which is minimal, you know, and this year we changed the hours a little bit from 11 to 5 to noon to 4, but we ended up extending it to 5 o'clock this year, and the vendors liked it and they stayed. So our coordinator, Shannon, she actually worked the market this year, whereas before, when I started it from 2021 and 2022, I'd go up there in the morning, get everybody set up, go back to my shop, and then I'd pop back and forth between my shop and the farmer's market during the day.
Well, it's convenient since your store is just down the block a short ways. Yeah. Okay, now apparently you've worked hard to upgrade and maintain the Mayville Winterfest.
I worked on a committee. Again, it's not all one
Not
person.
all you.
Yeah, no. There's so many people behind the scenes, you know, from just the planning aspect, because that starts in October. So in October, November, we meet every other week, and then December, January, and all the way through after the Winter Festival, we meet every week. So then you have the people building the castle, and you know, renting the tents and scheduling the band and all of this. So there's really a lot that goes into it, and the committee could really use more help from the community because it is such an undertaking.
Oh, okay. Well, who do they contact if people who aren't already helping with it? Who would they contact, and how would they get a hold of them?
They can contact any of our committee members, but they can contact the coordinator, Shannon B. Kirk, through the Mayville Chautauqua Chamber of Commerce. They can reach out on the Facebook page, send a message. Her phone number's on there, so you know, that information is available.
Okay.
But we also, with that name, because that name prior was the President's Day Weekend Winter Festival.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason it got named that because people were calling the village wanting to know when the festival was.
Mm-hmm.
And it was always on President's Day weekend. So
Okay.
they decided to give it that name. Well, again, we wanted something tied to Mayville. So we changed it to the Mayville Winter Festival, you know, because it ties it to our community. And we see roughly about 15,000 people come through on a good year. Not this year.
Oh, well, you know, one year, and I think it might have been several years ago by now already, there was kind of a heartbreaking experience around it because they had built a really nice big ice castle, you know, and with the lights inside that made it glow at night and everything. And I remember this. They had finished it I think it was the Friday of a week before the festival. Mm-hmm. Well, in the meantime, during the week between then and the festival, we had spring weather. It was up in the 50s, mm-hmm. and by the end of the week, the castle had melted a lot. Mm-hmm. It was falling apart. And I remember that Saturday driving past there, and there were people way up on the top of it, kind of mm-hmm. trying to do some repair work. It was pretty heartbreaking mm-hmm. That happened after all of the work they put into it. But I think the winters are getting shorter around here.
They are definitely different. You know, the crew that spends the time sourcing the ice from the lake, you know, getting all of that, they work on that 2 to 3 weeks before the festival actually mm-hmm. takes place. Mm-hmm. And it's just a hope and a prayer that, you know, Mother Nature is going to cooperate and keep the temperatures where they belong. So this year, because there was no snow, we couldn't have a snow castle. There was no ice, so we couldn't have an ice castle. Mm-hmm. And the weekend of the festival, it was so warm, we didn't see a third probably mm-hmm. of the traffic is what we mm-hmm. usually see.
You haven't ever thought of moving it up to a little earlier in the winter?
That's not anything really the committee has ever really even discussed.
So I just wondered, you know, like if we're getting to where with climate change, you know, maybe the winters are shorter, mm-hmm. but
yeah, that would be something that committee would have to discuss mm-hmm. if they wanted to go that route. Mm-hmm. So,
but maybe they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't think so, but I can't speak for the committee. So.
Okay. Okay, so you have a career as a realtor and a licensed real estate broker with ERA Team VP Real Estate. Would you like to tell the viewing audience something about being a real estate?
Sure. So
both a realtor and a licensed real estate broker?
Yes. So honestly, it was really never a career, just like the credit union that I never even really thought of. But my sister-in-law works for a continuing education company in the real estate field.
Okay.
So she had talked to me about it a couple of times, and I kind of just brushed it off. But then I really got to thinking about it. You know, the flexibility of the schedules. I could work all day if I want to. I can work, you know, take a day off if I want, and I could be home with my kids. You know, take them to appointments, stuff like that, and not have to ask for time off. So I started that, and then I completed the training, got my license, my initial license as a real estate salesperson mm-hmm. in 2018. So I signed right on with ERA Team VP. I've been there since day one. When our broker, Bill Stoffel, interviewed me, it felt like home. So I knew right then and there that I was going to stay. He offered me a position on the team right there. And it was funny because he's like, well, don't you need to go home and talk to your husband? And I said, nope. I said, it feels like home. I said, I know. This is the place I'm supposed to be.
And your husband was fine with it, I take it.
He was really fine with it, and he, really enjoys our brokerage, and he thinks very highly of, our agents and our broker and all of that. So it's been a really great place to be. And a realtor, it's a designation through the National Association of Realtors. So really, it's not that you're a realtor and an agent, you're an agent with that designation. You're following more ethical guidelines and you're held to a different standard. But then in 2021, I decided to upgrade my license to an associate real estate broker. So I could do the training aspect with our company if it came to it. I could be a managing broker, you know what I mean? Or in the future, if I ever decided I wanted to open my own brokerage, I could do that. But I don't have any desire at this point.
To open your own brokerage?
No, because I enjoy truly where I'm at, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, that's good. I know a lot of people do a lot, the person who has owned the home and they're ready to sell it. I know they do quite a lot to spruce their homes up, to get them ready to sell, to make them more saleable. Would you like to mention some of the things that people wind up doing?
I mean, simple things like cleaning your windows, just making everything look in tip-top shape, decluttering. Putting away everything that you don't need, taking down personal items like pictures, because when you have a house that you have on the market, potential buyers want to be able to see themselves and their belongings in a property. If they're walking around a property, let's say in the house, and the furniture is too big for a room, it kind of makes the room feel small. If they see, pictures hanging on the wall of the owners and their families, they don't see past that, because some buyers they really don't have an imagination, like they can't, or they might not be able to picture themselves there. So things like that, and then, if you have shrubs, maintain them. If your siding needs, and it also depends on the seller's budget. Like we can't expect them to,
spend an outrageous amount of money. I have had some people tell me that when they were ready to sell their houses, they repainted the rooms and put in new carpeting in the living room and things like that. So
yeah, some things are good, like painting is always good. Keep it neutral colors, because that way if buyers don't like it, it's easy to paint over. Whereas you have some kind of very bold colors, they're not as appealing. They're harder to paint over.
Yeah, different people have different tastes when it comes to colors.
Yep. And then with carpets, there's a lot of people that don't like carpet anymore, because of the allergens and stuff like that. So sometimes it's better off just to leave things how they are, depending on what it is that they're looking to upgrade.
Yeah. I've heard, in past years, I've seen some episodes on television where real estate salespeople are taking people around to show them a few different houses. And people would come in and they would, if they saw what was known as popcorn ceilings, that kind of would be kind of a deal breaker. Like a lot of people said they didn't like those, and a lot of people liked it if they found a house that had like granite countertops and things like that. So
yeah, granite countertops are more of a high-end. Popcorn ceilings you really don't see a whole lot if it's a newer build. If it's an older build, obviously. But those are things that are all things that can be fixed. Like you could scrape them down or tear it down.
Yeah.
The ceiling, that is, not the house, but
not the whole house, no.
Yeah.
No, you're not going to spend a bunch of money on a house just to tear it down. But
no.
Usually, and then usually sometimes I know apparently the people will see things that they want fixed before they buy the house too.
Potentially, yep, if they could see things themselves, or if they have a home inspection. The home inspector is a third party that's hired by the buyer.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll do their job and they'll give them a report of everything that they see.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually going to be everything. So they'll base it on a level like, oh, it's all good, no worries, kind of watch this, or this is kind of major.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, a buyer can either negotiate the price, they can ask for things to be fixed, or they can accept it as is.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And then fix it up the way they want it, instead of depending on somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you supervised the renovation of the theater building and helped coordinate the transition of ownership to Barb and Trevor Neckerson. Could you say something about it?
So our former building owner purchased the building in 2016, and I was actually there in another storefront 2 doors down teaching group fitness classes. So he took it over and he started remodeling the apartments upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but he's a concrete mason by trade,
Mm-hmm.
so he's very busy when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to that.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2019, between 2016 and 2019, I kind of started overseeing the building more and more.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2019, I personally demoed 5 of the apartments upstairs. Because he was planning on demolishing them all.
Oh, really?
And redoing them all,
Oh,
because they
okay.
were put in the 50s
Oh,
and they've never been
so they
changed.
were pretty old then.
So,
yeah.
I mean, supervise really, I don't know if is the right term. I kind of helped with it. And then, so when I moved my storefront down in 2020 to where I'm at, right next to Rite Aid, my old space was open. Tracy's Beauty Boutique was in the shop next to me, and she'd been there for just about 40 years.
Oh, yeah.
And when COVID happened, she got a taste of working from home and decided she liked working from home.
Mm-hmm.
So in September of 2020, she took her business home. And then the other storefront where the Mayberry Jungle is at now, Ambiance was there.
Mm-hmm.
And she had taken her business to her house in 2016,
okay.
2017, I think is what it was. So we had the 3 storefronts available. The new print shop approached me about my old space.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to get that leased to them,
Mm-hmm.
working with the landlord. And then Barb and Trevor approached me about the space where the Beauty Boutique was.
Mm-hmm.
So we got that leased to them. And then in 2021, Ariel approached me with the Mayberry Jungle in that empty space.
Mm-hmm.
So we got that one leased to her. And then Barb and Trevor had decided that they were tossing around the idea of potentially buying the building. So I did spend some time with them, showing them the building, but the decision on them to purchase it was between them and the former owner. So I really didn't have anything to do with that, other than just showing them the building.
Okay, and So now the Rite Aid drugstore is right down there on the corner. Does whoever owns the building own the Rite Aid store also then?
No. So our building, if you look at it, is a 3-story building in between. So the building on the other end is vacant. That's where Mayville Tremaine used to be, the insured right next to the park, and then Chautauqua Gateway Graphics in there. That one is owned by Van McConnon, so that's different. And then you have our 4 storefronts in between, and then Rite Aid is owned by the Caesars. So there's 3 different property owners in our block.
Oh, okay. So basically, Rite Aid rents the space then for their drugstore.
They rent it from that property owner, the Caesars, yes.
Okay. Okay. Now you have... well, actually, before we get into that, let's go to your photography. Serena has brought in some pictures that my technical guy, Chris, has scanned for us to show. And that is a picture of grapes that you took.
Yeah.
Was that taken in Westfield?
In Brockton, actually.
Brockton.
Yep.
Okay. And where on Chautauqua Lake was this taken?
That is down at Lakeside Park, if I remember correctly.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
Hmm.
I zoomed in on that.
Okay. And this is one of a Ferris wheel. Where was this Ferris wheel?
That was at the Chautauqua County Fair back in like 2012.
Okay, that's a really good picture.
That one's just uptown. That's a black and white, you know.
I love black and white pictures.
Yeah, me too.
They make everything look vintage.
Yeah. And of course, our beloved Chautauqua Belle. So that's an icon here in the village. So, you know, everybody's got to have a picture of that.
Oh, yeah.
And that was just a docked boat at Lakeside Park, a fisherman's boat. So.
Okay. Yeah, we did a whole episode on photography last month. A man named Arnold Halpern did an episode on how to take better pictures. So that was a really interesting episode.
That one there was down at Barcelona. So
Okay.
I kind of took a picture of it because you really couldn't see the horizon between the clouds and where the, you know, the horizon and the lake met.
Oh, yeah.
So it's kind
Yeah,
of neat.
sometimes pictures with fog in them can be kind of interesting. Okay, that was all of the pictures then, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, now, there's still some more?
Oh.
Okay.
That's the dock, Lakeside Park.
Okay.
And that's a train trestle down in Warren. If you look down.
Oh, is that in Warren, Pennsylvania?
Yeah. If you look
Okay.
down in the right, you'll see there's a boat with fishermen,
Uh-huh.
which I didn't know that they were in the picture until after you printed it. So.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, it's funny. A niece of ours was showing us a picture she'd taken one time. She had been to where somebody who was a hermit had lived, and she was kind of like taking pictures of the guy's outhouse. And she didn't notice, there was a tree next to the outhouse, and she didn't notice it at the time she was actually physically there until she got home and took a look at it on her computer. And you know, they say that ghosts can show up in pictures. Well, she's showing us this picture, and there is literally a man's face in the picture.
Wow.
It was like, it was pretty incredible, really. But yeah, it was a really interesting picture. But okay, now you have a business called Handcrafted from the Heart, and you have brought some of the items that you sell in your store. Let's talk about them. Now, we'll start with this T-shirt. You do these yourself, did you say?
I designed that, yes.
Okay.
And that came as a result of not being able to find anything Mayville related anywhere. It was simply Chautauqua or Chautauqua Lake, so I figured Mayville needed their own stuff too.
Okay, okay, that was nice, really nice. And then you design it, and then just, do you do the printing on it?
I had a local company print them for me.
You know, something that I really like about this T-shirt is that it's 100% cotton. I love 100% cotton clothing.
Yeah.
So.
We have a bunch of different colors.
Yeah, this is just one sample of the one she has. She has several different colors. I told her to definitely bring this, just because it's a cutting board, and it has Chautauqua Lake on it.
It has Chautauqua Lake on it, and then it says Chautauqua Lake with the coordinates. We have that one, and then we have Mayville as well. But if there's anything anybody wants, that's a different. So we've had ones that were ordered for Maple Springs.
Somebody in Maple Springs makes them?
No, somebody in Maple Springs wanted one.
Oh,
so
okay.
the company that I use, this lady found me on Facebook, and they're based out of Jamestown. So 1327 Designs, she makes these for us.
Yeah, this is really nice. This really caught my attention. I was just in Serena's store the other day, a few days before doing this interview, and this really caught my attention.
Those are really good sellers. Those, and we've got bar boards and trivets and you name it.
You want to pick up the pumpkin-shaped one. That's a cutting board also, I take it.
So this is upcycled. A guy out of Erie makes these for me. Mike Paris, I actually met him at the Winter Festival.
Oh, okay.
He had stuff down there, and I told him, I'm like, I want your stuff in my shop. So we connected probably April-ish, and he started bringing stuff in, and those are just recent with the changing of the season. So we've got quite a few other things that he brings too, along with 1327. They bring us a lot. So.
And then this is just an ornament, I take it?
That's just a fabric pumpkin. Those just came in yesterday. I have a vendor or an artisan, whatever you want to call them, a maker, that's had stuff in my shop for a while, and she just brought those in for the season. So.
You know what this makes me think of? It was something that my sister made for me one year. It was like a cloth pumpkin, and somehow there was a roll of toilet paper encased on the inside of it, you know. Eventually I think we just took the toilet paper out and used it, but for a few years we would put that out for like a Thanksgiving decoration, and that was kind of fun. Yeah,
I've made those before.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I'm not sure how she did it, but you could explain the mug to the viewing audience.
We have various mugs that I'm now making. This is sublimation, so it's an inkjet printer that you use, and when you apply heat to it, it turns it to a gas, and it adheres it to the mug.
Oh.
So you can put it in the dishwasher, but you have to be careful because over time it could fade with repeated heat.
Okay.
But you know, you wash them and they can be done with anything. They're 100% customizable.
Okay, and then underneath the mug is a little rug, or you could use it for on top of a table or something.
Yeah, you could. They were made as a mug, or as a rug.
You know, and I think what caught my attention when I saw it in your store was because I remember my husband telling me that that his grandmother on his mom's side of the family used to make things like that for other people. And another thing that kind of impressed me about it was you said that the person that makes these makes them out of bed sheets.
That is correct.
Bed sheets, and apparently used ones, probably.
She did not say if they were used or not. She just said that they were made from bed sheets. So Becky Hall, she lives in Sherman. She's the one. She used to work at Rite Aid, but she's the one that supplies those to our shop.
Oh, okay.
So.
Okay, well, it is pretty interesting looking. And then you have a journal here.
Yes, Emma Duncanson out of Jamestown. She just brought these in. They're called dot paintings, and we have journals, and we have earrings, and we've got keychains, and a whole bunch of other stuff that she has dot painted.
Oh, okay. So she just buys plain ones and then does the dot painting on them then.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, it's very pretty. And you have some books. Why don't we move along to the books?
So these are all local authors. This one is our newest book by Adrienne Ploss. She is the owner of the Hickoryhurst Farm. So go back. You Forgot the Flowers. I have not read it yet, but we've had her in our shop a couple times with book signing. This one here, Town of Chautauqua and Chautauqua Remembered Then and Now, are authored by Peter Flagg, who lives in DeWittville. So those have been pretty good sellers for us. And then this one here we have on consignment is our own Devin Taylor.
Ooh.
So these are his book to Chautauqua by rail, and we sell a lot of those as well.
Oh, Devin Taylor, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I knew, he's the one who got me this television program. I was telling you about that the other day. Yeah, we're good friends with him and his wife, Nancy, so.
Yeah, there's...
Okay, is that a sticker or a magnet that's laying over
this
there?
This is a
little
sticker,
oval.
And we've got 2 sizes. This is the 5-inch, and we have a 3-inch. Quite often you see those stickers on the vehicles that have the 3 letters for different areas, and again, Mayville didn't have anything, so I created the MVL for Mayville, so people can add those to their cars.
Okay, and the airplane. Okay.
My husband's uncle, who lives in Erie, him and his wife, he makes those for us. So we've sold several of them, and I know there's people that are waiting for Christmas time to come around so they can come back and get them. But we don't have just airplanes. We've got, oh my gosh, we've got semi-tractors with log truck, with a milk trailer, skid steer, bulldozer, and we've even got a couple of banks, so there's a variety to choose from.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, you know what it made me think of? Last year during the open houses for the different small businesses, I stopped into something called the Crafty Shack that's down between Hartfield and Mayville there. And I noticed that the man who makes the things in there, for that shop, his daughter helps him with them, and I noticed he had various wooden toys in there, like trains and things. That,
he does, and they're open on weekends, and they have their own Facebook page now. So Lee and I went to school together. She was a year ahead of me, his daughter.
Oh, his daughter, okay.
So, yeah, we're looking forward to hopefully partnering up with them, too, to offer some classes or do an event or something. So.
Oh, okay, that sounds like a good idea. And this would be best ever buttermilk pancake and waffle mix.
Yes.
So somebody makes these for you?
I make those.
Or you make those?
I make those. Obviously, I can't make them in my shop because I don't have an approved kitchen. So they're actually packaged at Chai's Chocolates and Gifts in Fredonia.
I see.
So I started carrying her hot cocoa bombs a couple years ago. And ever since then, we've formed a relationship, you know, a business-to-business relationship. I bought a cooler, and for several months I had her baked goods until the summer started. Then her second location opened, and so she was super busy. But we will be going back to hopefully soon carrying her baked goods in our shop.
Oh, good.
And then this stuff is selling like crazy. It's my own recipe. All you do is add the wet ingredients, and you can make either pancakes or waffles with them.
Okay,
and usually,
so there's
the
instructions on the back.
They're on the back. Yep.
Okay, and I really like this. This is one of my favorites of the things that you have in your shop. Got to make Justin walk down to the other end of the room. Yeah, these are apparently bookmarks.
Yes, they're macrame bookmarks, and it looks like a giant paper clip.
It does. It does. It looks like it's a copper wire too. This is really, really neat. I really like these for a bookmark.
So everything in our shop is handmade. It's either handmade by us, by locals, or if we cannot find it from locals, we will source it from small businesses in the U.S. only. So that is American made.
Okay, so everything that you sell in the store is made in the USA. So it's not from China.
No. Nope.
Okay, well that's good.
And we search high and low to find things that are made right here in the U.S. because we feel it's important.
This is apparently a set. It's a necklace and a pair of matching earrings. And what are they made out of? These?
They're made out of wood,
Okay.
And there's a small business in Corey, PA that also found me on Facebook and said, hey, I have this product. I think they'd be great in your store. So we've been carrying those for the last couple months. She's got lots of different designs. So she's not the only one that has earrings in the shop, though, between Val's Wood Earrings, which is her. I have earrings that I make, and we also have the lady that does the dot painting, the Emma Duncanson. She has earrings. And our local Sherry Press has earrings in our shop, too.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Now, let's talk about some of the other things that you have in the store. You have Amish popcorn. And is it actually grown by the Amish?
It's a small business out of the U.S. that I order from.
Oh, okay.
But that's honestly the only popcorn we buy anymore. I like the taste of it, and you know, you're supporting another small business. So, and we sell a lot of it. Like, I'm going to have to place another order because we're getting low.
I'll have to get. My husband loves popcorn, and I'll have to get some for him.
Yeah.
Sometime. One time, this other friend of mine who sews, she makes the most adorable cloth dolls and things. But out of the scraps of material, she winds up making pot holders. And one summer, I think it might have been the first summer that I met her, actually, or something like that, she had a couple of pot holders that the cloth had, the pattern on it was popcorn. So, you know, I had to get those for my husband. Those were really, really cute. You have pens also that you sell in their store.
Yeah, we've got pens. They're provided by the 1327 Designs, the people that do the cutting boards. So they have various sayings on them. There's ones that say Mayville, ones that say Chautauqua Lake. We've got other journals. We've got wind chimes, and we have games. So we've got the Yardsie bucket games that I make. We've got travel games. We have the game that you would find at Cracker Barrel, where you know, it's like the tee, the golf tee, where you jump them. So we have those that are upcycled out of boards.
It looked like maybe the game pieces were like corks
or
something?
They're upcycled wine corks.
Okay.
So my goal for those is to get wine corks from every single winery along the Lake Erie wine region, because I'd like to fill those boards with those. But that's an adventure in itself, trying to find those. And I don't drink wine, so.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't drink any alcoholic beverages. You had what's called bath bombs and things.
We've got bath bombs, shower steamers. We've got shampoo and conditioner. They're made by a local Anna out of DeWittville. We have Boo Boo Bunnies, which my friend Tawny makes, and I don't if people remember back in the day, they're made out of washcloths.
Oh, okay.
And you stick the ice cubes in there for when kids get hurt, you know, instead of using an ice pack.
I see. So it's kind of like a cute little ice bag for children.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but we've got a set of Amish chairs, the Polywood. My parents' neighbors make those. We have a set at home, so they're really comfortable and they're very durable. And he had made a set that was blue and gray, and as soon as I saw them, I'm like, I need those in my shop. Those remind me of the lake. So we've got those in there. We've got specific pillows now that we have paired with them that says you rock my boat with paddles on them, but we've got other pillows, and let's see, we've got signs.
I saw some Team VP pillows in your store.
Yeah, you'll find my ERA Team VP stuff peppered around the store. It is not to sell, it's more of a conversation piece.
Oh, I see.
People
the intention is not to sell them.
No, it's just a conversation piece for when people come in. And everybody else, when they come in, you'll notice in my third room, there's a poster-sized picture of my kids hanging on the wall from 10 years ago, and everybody comments on that picture that they absolutely love it, except for my kids. But
oh, your kids don't love it?
No, I said, you know, it's been 10 years, it's time to redo that. And
so you have 2 children then?
Yes, yep.
Okay. One of them's in college and one is in high school.
Yep, we have a freshman at Grove City College, and we have a freshman at Chautauqua Lake Central School. So
oh, wow. They're a few years apart, aren't they?
Yep, 4 years.
Okay, so you host other things in your store. You host exercise classes, craft classes, blood drives, and other community events. What would you like to say about these
Well,
things?
the exercise classes were when I was in my other shop. I don't have my group fitness licenses anymore. I let those go when I got licensed in real estate because I got too busy with real estate. Then I haven't done a blood drive since I was in my other shop. But we offer classes in our shop. So Ariel from the Mayberry Jungle, her and I collaborate once a month and offer a class. It's called a paint and plant. So I make all of the planters for the plants out of concrete. And then we have a class where people choose their planters, they paint them, and then they choose their succulents or tropical plants, whatever it is we're doing, and they complete their project. And we've always got refreshments, so you'll never go hungry in any of our classes.
Now, is it two separate occasions that you do the planters? Because you said they have to be painted first. Do you do that on a separate
So I make them all ahead of time. So I'll plan for however many people are signed up for the class. But just recently we've started opening up, so all of the planters that I have available are all available. And then we have 1 to 2 featured planters for each class. So our next class is Monday, and our featured planters are going to be pumpkins and cauldrons.
Okay.
So,
cauldrons for witches.
Yeah.
Okay. And I thought I saw an owl one hanging in a plant hanger. Does somebody make the plant hangers for you?
That came from a small business, from a class that Ariel and I had done before, and it was left over, so I paired it up with one of my planters.
Oh, okay.
So.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff in your store. There definitely
And there's stuff for men, too. There's beard oil, and there's beard combs, and there's manly smelling soap and other stuff. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, some guys are really growing their beards pretty long, aren't they? Does your husband have a beard?
Not right now, he doesn't.
Not right now,
No.
but sometimes he does?
Yeah.
Okay. And now you're also financial secretary of Mayville First Baptist Church. So that's a volunteer job.
Yeah, that's all volunteer.
Yeah. Actually, those of us that work at the TV studio here, these are all volunteer jobs. It's a 501c3 nonprofit studio. So
yeah, all of my work other than my job have all been volunteer. So whether it was with the chamber, when it was with a credit union, when I was doing, you know, the mock interviews or the business classes, that's all, you know, all volunteer based. So.
And your mom and your grandfather, that would be your mother's father, also graduated from Mayville School, Mayville Central School?
Yes, so my grandfather, Paul Paddock, his family went to the one-room schoolhouse on Prospect, and then he graduated from Mayville, and my mom graduated from Mayville, and I was so close to graduating from Mayville, but we went through the merger with Chautauqua, so I was actually the second graduating class of Chautauqua Lake. So.
You know, it's really funny sometimes when I would ask people, a young person, you know, like a teenager, do you go to school in Mayville then? And they go, well, no, I go to Chautauqua Lake Central School. And I'd say, yeah, but it is in Mayville, you know, so it is the school in Mayville right now. But anyway, anybody who would have ordinarily gone to the Chautauqua School when it still existed, come into Mayville to go to school now. And even some Ripley students come up to Mayville.
Yes, so Ripley students 7 through 12 are tuition to Chautauqua Lake. So when they graduate, they will graduate from Chautauqua Lake, not Ripley.
You said tuitions? They pay tuitions to be able to come to Mayville? So that means that not everybody, when they reach a certain age.
Everybody 7 through 12.
7 through 12.
So I don't know how the tuition aspect works between the school districts, but everybody 7 through 12 from Ripley will come to Chautauqua Lake, and they will graduate from Chautauqua Lake.
Yeah, I know a young man who, well, I don't know if he's still doing that particular job or not, but because I haven't seen him in a long time, but I know a young man who was driving the school bus, bringing kids from Ripley to Mayville and then taking them back home in the afternoons again. And I guess the job got pretty difficult once COVID showed up. I remember he said that he had to disinfect the insides of the buses twice a day.
Oh, I'm sure.
So it was pretty challenging at the time. So anyways, we've got like 6.5 minutes left yet. What else should we talk about?
We can talk about collaboration.
Okay.
Like I've really dug deep into collaborating with local community members, businesses, and organizations. So my favorite motto is we're all in this together, so we might as well make it fun, while we're doing it. So in December, Ariel and I are partnering up with the new restaurant in town, She Sings. So
what's the name?
She Sings Cafe.
She Sings?
Yeah, where Dick's Harbor House used to be, the former Chautauqua Harbor House.
Yep. Yeah.
Rebecca Magnuson bought that, and she just opened last week. So right now they're open for breakfast and lunch, and then they'll eventually be open for dinner. But we are going to be collaborating on an event. I've done photos with Santa for the last number of years, and I wanted to change it up this year. So we are going to do classic Christmas stories with Mrs. Claus.
Classic Christmas stories with Mrs. Claus to make it different.
Yeah, we're going to be doing that. And then I did reach out to Harrington Farms, so we're working on putting a wagon ride together, a horse-drawn wagon ride with Mr. and Mrs. Claus.
Oh, in the winter. Okay.
Yep.
And that'll be in the village of Mayville?
Yep, in the village of Mayville. And then for the winter months this past year, so December through March, I partnered up with the other restaurant, Music for Your Mouth.
Oh, yeah.
We did cookie decorating.
Yeah. I knew they were going to do that one time in the winter.
Yeah, we did that for 4 months. And then Ariel and I are doing a kids' Halloween costume contest and party on October 28th down at Carlson. So for kids 12 and under, they can come participate. So.
Oh, that'll be fun. Yeah, Music for Your Mouth, they were doing some sort of a raffle. I think it was back when it was still winter. It had something to do with, I think, getting a service dog for a handicapped person, I think it was. Were you involved in that?
I was not involved in that one. So.
Yeah. So.
I mean, other than, I don't even know, I might have donated a door prize, but other than that, so. And then the Chautauqua Lake School is going to be decorating our windows for Halloween. So that was something that used to happen back in the day that I've heard many stories about.
I remember that back in the 1950s and 1960s. Kids could sign up to paint a Halloween picture on a storefront window. And me and a couple of other girls did that together one year. I don't know that we were good enough at it to do that, but we did it. So, but some of the pictures that some of the kids used to paint were very good. I remember one year seeing one of those Black Widow spiders with the red hourglasses on it for a Halloween picture on a store window. So. There were some things that were set up above your store in some windows the other day. There, some Halloween items.
Yeah.
They were, it looked like ghosts and things up there.
Yeah, so anybody walking by the theater building, you need to step back a little bit toward the street and look up on the second floor.
Or you can look from across the street.
And see what the Nickersons have been working on up there for Halloween.
That's who's been putting those things in the windows?
Yeah, they've been doing that. So.
Okay. Now, are the storefronts going to be painted on then, like what I was just talking about?
For the windows?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the school's going to come down and do the windows. And actually, this started last year because I had so many people approach me about getting the windows painted for Halloween. It was almost too late for Halloween, but we had the school all set up and they did Christmas. So we had several businesses and organizations that had their windows painted. So the school's actually lined up to do Christmas as well for us. They're going to be back down painting the windows for Christmas time. So.
Well, speaking of doing things for Christmas, one time when I was sitting with some other relatives of mine for lunch, it was on the Saturday of the Thanksgiving weekend that particular year, and we were sitting in one of the restaurants having lunch, and this woman started going up and down the sidewalk, and she was dressed like she was supposed to look like a Christmas tree, and she was on stilts underneath this long thing that she had on that went all the way to the ground, so you didn't actually see the stilts. And it was pretty amazing. She seemed pretty professional with being on the stilts, and she'd jump up and down and things like that. It was kind of amazing. That was a pretty interesting thing. And one time when we were on our way to go to Erie, I think it was like late November or early December one time, we were driving through Sherman. And you know where you make the left turn to go to where the expressway is to head to Erie? We're going around the corner, and there's a couple of people there, and one of them's dressed like Santa Claus, and the other one was dressed like a cow. And they were just waving to the traffic as it went by. We busted out laughing because it was pretty funny. But, you know, there's all kinds of interesting things people can do for the holidays. So.
Well, right now, Rick Seiper in the village, they are asking businesses to decorate the village park. So it doesn't have to be anything fancy, but if people want to, they could go put up decorations in the village park. Excuse me. Rick and his crew, I saw them out there yesterday putting stuff up. So there is some stuff starting to come in. So.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, he's the mayor now.
Yep. So.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. If you have an idea for something you can do, that little park over in Westfield, it used to be where there was a movie theater, but now it has the statues of Abraham Lincoln and that little
Grace Bedell.
Grace Bedell in the park there, and I've noticed that in the winter people will put, I don't know who does it, but somebody puts a scarf, a winter neck scarf around Abraham Lincoln, like they want to help him keep warm in the winter weather.
Well, and you'll quite often see lights running along the fences too in that park, Christmas lights. So.
Well, I see that we've come to the end of another episode of Fresh Perspectives, and I just want to say thank you again for being a guest on Fresh Perspectives today. And I will see those of you in the viewing audience when I do the next episode. Have a good rest of the weekend.